All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about a fish that's honestly a total game changer. It's gone from the rice paddies of Asia to the absolute forefront of the modern aquarium hobby. It's tough, it's stunning, and it's a brilliant alternative to the fish you always see. We're going to find out exactly why people are calling this the fish of the future.
Okay, so right off the bat, this chart tells you everything. Just look at that thermal tolerance. We're talking 4 to 35 degrees Celsius. Do you know what that means? Compared to a guppy, you can probably ditch the heater entirely. That, plus the fact they're happy in a small space, gives them a super tiny carbon footprint. This right here is why the Medaka is the perfect choice for the modern, conscious fish keeper.
So what's the big deal with the Japanese rice fish? I mean, why is everyone so excited about the Medaka? Let's dig into its amazing story, from its humble beginnings to becoming this prized gem in the aquarium world, and, believe it or not, a superstar in scientific labs.
When you look at it, this fish is the whole package. It's got this thing called eurythermy, which is just a fancy way of saying it's unbelievably tough with temperatures. It's sustainable, it's a hero for science, but for us, the hobbyists, oh man, it's a living work of art. The variety of colors and fin types is just staggering. It's the perfect fish to get obsessed with. Okay, so we know they're awesome, but how do we give them an awesome home? Let's get into setting up the perfect environment. And this isn't just about keeping them alive, you know? This is about making them thrive, so they show off those incredible colors and personalities. If there's one word to remember for water quality, it's stability. Look, these guys are adaptable for sure, but if you want the best health, the deepest colors, and a fish that's going to be with you for years, you want to lock in these numbers. Keep things stable, keep those nitrates down, and you're golden.
You know, the perfect Medaka setup is surprisingly easy. It really just boils down to 3 simple things. First, gentle filtration. A sponge filter is your best friend here. It keeps the water calm and it won't suck up any babies. Second, floating plants. This one is non-negotiable. It's their safety blanket and their nursery. And third, and trust me on this, get a lid. These little guys are jumpers.
All right, ready to level up your Medaka game? Let's talk about something really cool, the traditional Japanese method. It's called a balcony biotope, and it's basically a mini self-sustaining ecosystem you can create in a simple pot. The benefits you get from this, you just can't replicate them indoors. And why would you do this? Well, the benefits are huge. That natural sunlight acts like a high-definition filter for their colors. Artificial lights can't even come close. An outdoor setup also creates a 24/7 buffet of tiny live snacks for them to eat. And maybe the best part, it lets them experience a natural winter, which can actually make them live longer and breed better in the spring. Okay, this is a question I get all the time. What can I put in the tank with them? The great news is that Medaka are super chill, so let's figure out how to build the perfect, peaceful little neighborhood for them where everybody gets along.
So here's your A-list for tank mates. Neocardinia shrimp, like cherry shrimp, are fantastic because Medaka tend to leave the baby shrimp alone, which is rare and awesome. White cloud mountain minnows, they're like cousins who enjoy the same cool temperatures. And then you've got your bottom dwellers like peppered cories. They're basically living on a different floor of the apartment building, so there's no fighting over food or space.
Now, this slide is just as important, maybe even more important. This is your do not add list. Cichlids are just aggressive bullies. A big goldfish will look at your Medaka and see a snack. And tiger barbs, oh man, they're the worst. They will shred those beautiful long fins to pieces. It's a recipe for disaster and heartbreak, so just don't do it.
Let's talk about food. This is where things get really fun, because what you feed your Medaka is the secret key to unlocking those jaw-dropping, vibrant colors you see in all the pictures online. You really are what you eat, especially if you're a Medaka.
So, here's the magic formula. Think of it like a food pyramid. The base, about half their diet, should be a really good high-protein pellet. Then you supplement with the fun stuff, live or frozen foods like Daphnia. That gets their hunting instincts going. But here's the secret sauce, foods with carotenoids. That's the stuff that literally paints those bright reds and yellows onto the fish. Now, feeding the adults is easy. The real challenge is feeding the babies. For the first week or so of their lives, their mouths are just microscopic. They literally cannot eat normal fry food. Success depends completely on having microscopic food ready, like infusoria or what's called green water. Getting them through this first phase is the single most critical part of raising them. Speaking of babies, let's talk about breeding. This is one of the most rewarding parts of keeping Medaka, and believe me, it is so much simpler than you might think. It's all about knowing which natural triggers to pull to get things started. So what are the triggers? It's easy.
You just have to convince them it's summer. It all boils down to two things. First, long days. You need to keep the lights on for more than 13 hours. Second, lots of high-protein food to get them in condition. You do those two things, and nature will absolutely take its course.
And once you have eggs, the journey is just fascinating. They hatch as these tiny pre-larvae with their own little lunchbox attached, their yolk sac. 2 weeks later, you can see their fins start to pop out. By day 35, they're perfect miniature versions of their parents. And then, in just over 2 months, they're sexually mature and ready to start the whole cycle over again. It's incredible.
And you'll get to enjoy them for a good long time. In the wild, life is tough, and they might only live a year or two. But in a well-cared-for aquarium or an outdoor pond, it's totally normal for them to live 3, 4, even up to 5 years. For such a small fish, that's an amazing lifespan.
All right, let's wrap up with what is probably the most important topic in all of fish keeping: keeping them healthy for the long run. Because even a fish as tough as the Medaka isn't invincible, and good habits make all the difference.
So, after all we've covered, the right setup, the perfect food, the best tank mates, what's the single most important secret to keeping your fish healthy and happy for years to come? What's the real key?
The answer is simple, but it's powerful. Prevention, not medication. Almost every disease your fish can get is triggered by stress. And what's the #1 cause of stress? Bad water quality. A clean, stable environment is the only medicine you should be thinking about. It's how you win 99% of the battle before it even starts. Of course, problems can still happen sometimes. And yeah, there are treatments for common things like itch and velvet, as you can see here, but you should think of these as the emergency room. You never want to have to use them. The real strategy is to keep that environment so pristine that these nasty things never get a chance to take hold.
You know, this quote just nails it. This humble fish from a rice paddy has become a pillar of modern, thoughtful fish keeping. It's a species that is sustainable, breathtakingly beautiful, and endlessly fascinating. It really is the future of the hobby, right here.
So after seeing their resilience, their beauty, and their small footprint on the planet, there's really only one question left to ask. Are you ready to be a part of that future?